So in this video I'm going to show how to repair a blade of a canoe paddle. What I have is a Bending Branches Sun Shadow paddle. It's one of my favorite paddles that I have. I've also got one of their Expedition paddles with T-grip, and between these two, I love them. The Sun Shadow has the contoured grip on it. It's very nice, very comfortable, and of course, I like my woodwork and all the laminations in the wood. It's, really, it's a very attractive paddle. So, so we're gonna repair the blade of a paddle. So this is what it's supposed to look like, okay? And this is what I've got. So, should I tell you the story behind the broken paddle? Needless to say, I took someone paddling. They were in a separate canoe, and when we got to either the campsite or the portage, I was informed that the spare paddle broke. Yes, the spare paddle broke. I don't quite know how the paddle, wasp. I don't know how the paddle broke while sitting inside the canoe, but needless to say, this is what it looks like now. It used to look something like this. So anyhow, so I'm gonna repair that, and I'm gonna just use some thickened epoxy, and I'll show you how I do it. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is remove this red tape. And I know there's a lot of other instructions out there that say to sand the paddle down before doing anything. I'm not going to bother doing that because I'm going to sand it afterwards, and if I sand it now, then I'm sanding it twice, and to me it's just making extra work for myself. So I'm going to remove this red tape, and then I'm going to just follow the crack line and just apply some masking tape to it, and then mix up some thickened epoxy. So all I'm doing is I'm using West System epoxy as usual, and I'm going to use the same 105 resin with the 207 special hardener. It's the clear hardener. It's what I've got in the shop. Any hardener would do, and any epoxy would do, but I use West System in my shop, and so that's what I have handy. So I'm just going to thicken it up with some wood flour and just get it so that it's about the same consistency as, like a mayonnaise or peanut butter, I guess, just so it's not falling off my stir stick on its own. And now with the paddle all masked off, I'm just going to apply that thickened epoxy just on the break here. And then now all I'm going to do is just use some clamps. So to glue this together, you need to use pipe clamps. So, the pipe clamps themselves aren't cheap, so if you know a woodworker, then maybe you can just bring all of your materials over to their shop and clamp the paddle up there. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe off this excess epoxy that I can, and it's just going to save me some time later on when I get to sanding. So now with the paddle clamped up, we just need to let this sit. It's got to sit for at least 24 hours, and then we can remove the excess epoxy from the paddle. Now that the epoxy's hardened overnight, I'm just going to sand this down, and I'm just going to use a rotary palm sander and just get it all nice and level. And I'm going to sand the entire blade now, and then I will apply some good quality marine varnish. Okay, so I've added those couple coats of marine varnish to the blade of the paddle, and it's all finished. And if you ask me, I think it looks pretty good. Of course, the Bending Branches logo is now off of it because that's been sanded off, so that's unfortunate, but still, I've got a working Sun Shadow paddle again.